Hi, it's Kari Mathews of Prairie Quilting. Today we're working on my quilt flower basket. The pattern is available through my website, prairiequilting.com. And today we're going to be working on the center block here. So the basket and have lots of fun picking your flower colors and everything. Let's get started. Okay, I am going to show you how I cut out this template. This is for the basket block. Okay, so basically this is folded over. It's this selvage just down here. Okay, and I have a spot that's wide enough for this. And so I'm just going to place the long end here on the cut edge, and then I traced around it. And when I do that, I get the template and the reverse because I need both. Okay, for our basket block, we are going to be making some half square triangle units. Okay, so we're going to match up a light brown and a darker brown square, and a gray and a light brown square. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and we will draw our diagonal lines. These are nice big half square triangle units. And then we're going to turn around and come back the other way. Okay, for this light gray and the gray and the light brown, we're just going to go on one side. Okay, and now we're going to go on that line, and we want to make sure it's on that line because we want this to be a good half square triangle. Okay, a couple of them. Okay, let's go ahead, and you know what, while we're here, we have two remaining brown triangles, okay, and we're going to go ahead and cut those in half diagonally. Okay, so now we have 4 triangles. Okay, and we are going to go ahead and press away from the light brown, okay, so that our seams will nest. All right, and then we're gonna clip the corners off. All right, I have laid out the basket here, and what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna just be sewing the pieces together in diagonal rows here, okay? So there's lots of diagrams in the pattern to follow. Okay, so let's just line them up. And let's go like this, okay? Okay, so let's go ahead and connect up the rest of this row here. Okay, for the short gray row, we're gonna go ahead and press toward that gray triangle. And there's some bias edges, so just be careful not to pull on it. Okay, for the long row, we're gonna go down toward that gray. Okay, we'll clip our corners here. Okay, and for the piece with the cream, we're gonna go toward the cream. All right, so now let's go ahead and connect this triangle up with this row, okay? And while we're there, we're gonna go ahead and connect up these 2 rows here. And our seams nest right here. I'm gonna give myself a pin to hold that in place. All right, for the big section here, I'm gonna press toward this bigger section, and I'm gonna trim these corners. Sometimes it's easier to do that before you press. Okay, and then we'll get this one. Okay, in this little section, we're gonna press toward that triangle. And there's vise there, so be careful. All right, now we're gonna connect these two sections here. So we'll go ahead and I'm gonna sew from the corner here. Okay, I'm gonna clip that corner. And in this case, I'm gonna go toward the basket here. Okay, and that's so that all my seams are gonna nest. All right, and we're gonna connect these last two sections here. So we have a couple seams to nest, this one right here. Okay, and this one right up here. So you can feel it with your fingers that it is nesting, butting up against each other. Okay, let's go ahead and sew. And if you can see this V right here, that's where my needle is gonna go. All right, and I'm just gonna go toward the cream on this. And there's some bias edges, so just try to be careful not to stretch it. All right, we have our basket section assembled, and now we need to connect it to the top part, the sky piece, I guess you'd call it. All right, I'm gonna sew with the seams on the top, and I'm also going to put a few pins in place just to hold it because it's such a large section. All right, let's go ahead and sew. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and press toward that cream rectangle. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and work on our applique. Okay, I'm gonna show you, I use a light box when I trace my pieces, and I have the reverse of the template, so I flipped it over, and I'm tracing the reverse, okay? I enjoy the whole process of quilting, so I do not mind. This is good in front of the TV work here. So I just finished tracing around, and then I will press this to the wrong side of my fabrics. Okay, so I have put paperback fusible web on the wrong side of the fabric, and I'm just gonna go ahead and peel that off. So I have placed all these things out, and they are not pressed down yet. So arrange your flowers how you'd like. This is your very own flower arrangement. And then go ahead and just give it all a press. And I like to just do it all at the same time. Okay, and I'm not ironing because I don't want to move my pieces. And just follow the directions of your fusible web applique. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and applique. Okay, so I have put an orange thread in my top thread, and I just kept the bobbin white. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to stitch around with my buttonhole stitch. Okay, and you can use any kind of decorative stitches. You could mix them all up and just have fun making this project your own. Okay, and notice when I'm coming to the corner, I'm stopping, pivoting. I like to do my needle down so that I can pivot. All right, last petal. Sneaking my way around. I like to start on the top layer, and then that secures the other things underneath it. Okay, and so now I'm going to go ahead and leave myself a nice long tail, and I'm going to pull those threads to the back. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I've threaded both of those orange threads in my needle, and I'm going to go down where I came up. Okay, pull them to the back side. And then I have the 2 white bobbin threads and the 2 orange threads. Okay, I have all 4. So I'm going to separate those into 2 and 2. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and we're going to tie those off, and I'm going to go ahead and make a loop, okay, with both a white and an orange. And I'll bring that down to the level of the fabric. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my fingernail, pull against it. And let's do it again. So make a loop, bring both ends through, down to the fabric and pull, okay? And then we're going to go ahead and leave ourselves a tail, okay? And let's do that one more time with the other threads. We'll bring it down, okay, tie it off. Okay, another loop and down to the fabric. And there we go. And we'll leave ourselves a tail. All right, and we're gonna go ahead and finish off the rest of the applique. And there's our flower basket block. All right, our block is finished. I hope you had fun and I hope to see you soon for another project. Take care.